People are not listening to what you say. They are listening to who you are. And right now, the frequency you're broadcasting is the static of a man who is asking for permission to exist in his own skin. You think you have a communication problem, but you actually have a conviction problem. And every time you end a sentence with a rising inflection, like you're begging the room to validate your right to speak, you are physically handing over your power to people who are less competent than you, but more certain of themselves. Stop. Don't look away. You know exactly what it feels like to have the right answer trapped in your throat while someone else barks out a mediocre idea and gets the promotion, the respect, and the life you wanted. You are suffocating on your own politeness. And if you don't learn how to weaponize your voice, you will spend the rest of your life as a footnote in someone else's biography. The truth is cold. Nobody is coming to discover your hidden genius if you're too busy whispering it to the floorboards. You are the protagonist of a story that is currently being written in invisible ink because you're terrified that if you speak too loudly, the world might actually hold you accountable for what you say. You are standing at the base of a mountain called authority, and the air up there is thin, and the ground is covered in the remains of those who tried to fake the climb. You look up at the summit and you see the people who move the world, the ones whose words carry the weight of iron, and you tell yourself they were born with a silver tongue or a different kind of throat. That's a lie you tell yourself to make your cowardice feel like a biological limitation. Authority is not a gift. It is a conquest. It is the result of a psychological war you must win against the version of yourself that wants to be liked more than it wants to be respected. The pain of staying the same, the pain of being the nice guy who everyone likes but nobody listens to, is a slow, corrosive acid. It eats away at your self-worth until you're nothing but a hollow shell of maybes and I thinks. You are currently living in a state of linguistic apology. You use words as shields instead of swords. You say, I just wanted to check in, or does that make sense? Because you're terrified of the silence that follows a definitive statement, but look at the mountain again. The climb is steep, and the path is littered with the jagged rocks of social rejection. The pain of change is the pain of the weightlifter. It is the burning sensation of your vocal cords finally carrying the weight of your soul. It's the discomfort of making eye contact and not being the first one to blink. It's the agonizing heat of standing in your truth when the room is cold with disagreement. You have been running from that heat your whole life, seeking the shade of the background. But the background is where things go to be forgotten. To speak with authority is to accept that you might be wrong, but to realize that being wrong with conviction is more useful to the world than being right with a tremor in your voice. Your brain, that ancient survival machine, is screaming at you to keep your head down. It tells you that if you speak up, the tribe will exile you. But we are no longer on the savannah, and the modern tribe doesn't exile the loud. It ignores the quiet. Your voice is a physical manifestation of your internal hierarchy. When you speak with authority, you aren't just moving air, you are rearranging reality of the people around you. You are setting the boundaries of what is possible. Think about the last time you felt truly heard. It wasn't because you had the best data or the prettiest slides. It was because for a fleeting moment, you stopped caring about the outcome and started caring about the outcome and started caring about the truth. You stopped negotiating with the audience and started commanding the space. That feeling, that electric surge of presence, is the baseline for the person you are meant to become. But you have been taught to suppress it. You have been conditioned to believe that authority is synonymous with arrogance, so you've neutered your speech to stay humble. Real humility is having a giant sword and keeping it sheathed. It is not pretending you don't have a sword at all. The narrative of your life is currently being dictated by the loudest person in the room, and that person isn't you. It might be your boss, it might be your partner, or it might be the internalized voice of a father who never listened. You are a ghost in your own conversations. To change this, you have to understand the mechanics of the mountain. Authority is built on the foundation of silence. The man who speaks the most rarely speaks with the most power. Power is the economy of words. It is the ability to say no and not feel the need to provide a 5-minute justification. It is the ability to state a fact and let it hang in the air like a heavy stone. You are currently a verbal jitterbug, filling every gap with and nervous laughter because silence feels like a vacuum that might suck out your secrets. But silence is your greatest ally. Silence is where your authority gathers its strength. When you stop talking, people start leaning in. When you stop rushing, the world slows down to your tempo. Imagine you are in a room with the most powerful version of yourself. That version of you doesn't fidget. They don't look at their feet. Their voice doesn't crack when they ask for what they deserve. They speak from the diaphragm, not the throat. The sound comes from the gut, from the place where your ancestors stored their fire. When that version of you speaks, the air in the room changes. It's thicker. It has more gravity. You are that person, but you are currently buried under layers of social conditioning and fear. You are a lion who has been convinced he is a sheep because the sheep are easier to manage. The mountain is calling you to remember your roar, not for the sake of noise, but for the sake of order. A world without authority is a world of chaos, and your life is currently in chaos because you refuse to lead it with your words. The psychology of success is the psychology of the frame. Every interaction is a battle of frames. Either you are entering someone else's reality, or they are entering yours. When you speak with hesitation, you are surrendering your frame. You are saying, I am a guest in this moment. When you speak with authority, you are the host. You set the temperature. You define the terms. This doesn't require shouting. In fact, the most authoritative people in history often spoke the softest, but they spoke with the absolute certainty that what they said was the new law of the land. You have been a guest in your own life for too long. You've been waiting for someone to hand you the microphone, but the microphone is always live, and it said, always in your hand. You just have to choose to turn it up. Look at the cost of your silence. Calculate the debt you've accrued by not speaking up. The mist raises the unpursued relationships, the ideas that died in your head because you were afraid of a weird look from a stranger. That debt is staggering. It is the cost of a life half-lived. The pain of the climb, the social friction, the occasional confrontation, the effort of conscious speech is a bargain compared to the interest on that debt. You are paying for your comfort with your destiny. It is a terrible trade. The mountain is jagged, yes. Your hands will bleed as you grab the sharp edges of direct communication. People will be taken aback. They will say you've changed. They will try to pull you back down to the village where everyone speaks in whispers and apologies. Let them. Your loyalty is to the summit, not the crowd at the base. Transition your mind from a seeker of approval to a source of direction. Stop asking, is this okay? And start stating, this is the way. Use visual language. Don't tell them your idea is good. Make them see the structure of the future you're building. Speak in pictures. Speak in certainties. Replace I think with I know. Replace maybe we could with we will. These small linguistic shifts are the pitchings you drive into the rock as you ascend. They are the anchors of your new identity. Each time you speak without an apology, you are claiming another foot of the mountain. You are proving to your own nervous system that you are safe in the heights. The air is getting colder now. You're higher than you've ever been. The village below looks small, and the people there are still arguing over nothing. You can feel the power in your lungs. It's not a frantic power, it's a calm, steady pressure. Authority is the absence of hurry. The king never runs. When you speak, speakate. It's if you have all the time in the world, and the world will wait for you to finish. This is the ultimate psychological paradox. The less you care about the audience's reaction, the more they will be captivated by your presence. By detaching from the need to be accepted, you become impossible to ignore. You become a landmark. The mountain of authority is not something you climb once. It is a daily ascent. Every morning you wake up as a nobody and you have to speak yourself into existence again. You have to choose your words with the precision of a diamond cutter. You have to guard your yes and weaponize your no. You have to realize that your voice is the primary tool. You have to shape the clay of your life. If the tool is blunt and weak, your life will be shapeless and fragile. If the tool is sharp and heavy, you can carve your name into the history of the world. Don't go back to the village. Don't go back to the just checking in and the sorry to bother you. The world is not bothered by your strength. It is bothered by your weakness. The world is desperate for someone to stand up and speak with a voice that doesn't shake. It is waiting for you to assume the position you were born for. The pain of the mountain is your initiation. The blood on your hands is your proof of purchase. You are not a spectator. You are the commander of your own narrative. When this conversation ends, the silence will return. And in that silence, you will have your first opportunity. Someone will ask you a question. The situation will require a decision. Your brain will try to slip back into the old comfortable apology. It will try to make you small. Resist it. Feel the mountain under your feet. Breathe from your belly. Speak the truth without a safety net. Don't look for the nod of approval. Look into the eyes of the person you're talking to and let your words land like a hammer on an anvil. The time for whispering is over. The summit is within reach. Your voice is the bridge. Walk across it. Stand in your power. Speak now. Just speak.